Suicide is a tough and a sensitive thing to talk about. But with the rise in the number of teen suicides taking place in Arizona, we need to raise awareness and make changes to state law to cut down the number of youth who are taking their own lives. In Arizona, children ages 10 to 14, suicide is the leading cause of death. And in ages 15 to 24, it's the second leading cause of death. For every 25 attempts, one person completes it. The problem is real, and the legislation for this epidemic is needed. That's why I'm here to talk to you about State Bill 1468. State Bill 1468 would require evidence-based suicide prevention, intervention, and referral training for all public schools, all teachers, librarians, coaches, counselors, principals, and all other school personnel who work with students in grades K through 12 would be required to take this training. In the East Valley, 31 teens have committed suicide within the last 15 months. The most recent deaths occurred in Queen Creek, East Mesa, Chandler, and in Gilbert, with the youngest being an 11-year-old boy. The training would begin in the 2020-2021 school year. The bill will require similar training for all students enrolled in teacher training programs at state universities as well. The training would be required once every 3 years and would go towards their professional development hours with teachers that teachers already must meet. Teachers are with our children more hours a day than us during the school year. With teachers on our forefront, who better to train and recognize these signs than our teachers? Teachers are trained for school safety, student wellness, academic proficiency, and what to look for with physical abuse. But when it comes to self-abuse, when it comes to cutting, when those students are having suicidal thoughts, there's no training in regards to that. We don't expect them to be mental health professionals, but simply to recognize the signs and triage them, then refer them out to get the help that they need. But they need to be aware of the signs. They would learn how to identify the warning signs, intervention techniques, and how to talk to students if they're feeling depressed or suicidal. In 2015, suicide and self-injury cost the United States $16 million. These educational classes, there's already some that are available online for free or at a little cost. The school leaders could use state guidelines, or they can work with a nonprofit organization or even develop their own training for the suicide prevention classes. Suicide is like a pebble in a pond. The waves ripple outwards. The first waves close by are big. As they move outward, they get smaller and smaller. The reach of the pebble's waves is much greater than the size of the pebble itself. As a result, the people who interact regularly with the individuals who ended their life will feel it most intimately. Some who may not have personally known the individual who died can also be impacted, like emergency medical personnel, law enforcement, and others who respond to provide support to the family and communities, either at the time of the death or afterwards. Ultimately, the way that the pond is changed because of the pebble, an entire community can be changed by suicide. According to the 2016 study, it is estimated that 150 people are exposed to a single suicide, with 1 in 5 reporting that this experience had a devastating impact or caused a major life disruption. In 2014, I lost my sister Kirsten to suicide. She was 45 years old, and although she wasn't a student in grades K through 12, she does have 2 children that are. As we learn from the ripple effect about the devastating effects it can have on one family member, when someone you know dies by suicide, it increases your likelihood of dying by suicide by 3 times. We need this bill to pass so that all teachers and staff are trained in suicide prevention and on the same page. No parent should have an empty seat at their table, and no teacher should have an empty seat in their classroom.